Siobhan how to make white sauce. Start off with 100 grams of butter and 90 grams of plain flour. Those are high quantities because I'm making a very big lasagna. It is the size of a one. So if you're making a smaller one, you could use probably half those quantities. So we start off by turning on the heat very high, full, if I can find the right ring, in a saucepan. And I like to use a straight wooden spoon, because then you can turn things very easily with it and you can scoop it around. So you start off by melting the butter in your saucepan. The reason you use a high heat is because you're going to make sure that you don't leave that to melt, because you don't want it to burn. And I should have done this earlier, but I'll just have to chat to you in the meantime. I'm just back from Ballycastle, having been round to the Marine Hotel for a cup of tea with my mother, and Mary O'Rourke called in to see us. She drove past and saw us sitting at the window. Mummy ate a chocolate muffin, and she was in great fun, absolutely great fun. We went round the seafront and met Jerry McGoran, who you probably don't know, an old beau of Derbliss, and that was nice. Now we have some melted butter here, and I've just melted it down, and as soon as that has melted, you don't want it to go brown, as I said, you toss in the flour and you make a paste. Now sometimes I take it off the heat until, because I don't want it to burn, but I make the paste and smooth it in. So you have, and if you can see that, I'll lift this up to show it to you. Hope you can see that, and it's nice and smooth. Now this is the key bit. Sorry about that. This is the key bit. This is the bit that my mother taught me. You keep it over a high heat and you pour in a little milk at a time. You pour in maybe about half a cup and you stir that. Now what I do is I tend to take it off the heat. As soon as you start to stir it, it thickens. This stuff really, really thickens. And you make sure you have that milk in before you put any more milk in. So you just put another wee bit of milk in. And you do the same until you have all the milk incorporated. The first part of it is the key bit. You want to make sure you don't get any lumps, so you keep stirring. And another little bit of milk. As you can see, it's quite small quantities of milk, and you have to have it on a high heat so that it cooks and the milk gets into it. Now this is what it looks like at the moment. It sort of doesn't look like anything. It's sort of, can you see that, I wonder? It looks just like gloop, but it's thick and it's sticking a little to the bottom. So that's why I take it off the heat, so that I don't burn it. And then I pour in more milk. I'm going to use about 2 or 3 pints of milk because I'm making such a big roux. Now that bit there makes it go sort of gloopy, and I'm beginning to see that it's starting to I'll show this to you again. It's sort of thick, like I'm not too sure what texture you would call that. And another little bit of milk. Other cooks would tell you to throw it all in together and whisk until all the lumps go, but I like to do it like this so that we don't get any lumps at all. And you just keep stirring and stir until all the lumps have gone, if there are any. No lumps in this. It's smooth. Now it's beginning to start to look a bit like a white sauce. Oh, I think you can see it's beginning to look like white sauce. I'm taking it off the heat. There's Adrian singing in there, if you can hear that. Singing songs of praise. And then you can make it as thick or as thin as you want it. And that's all there is to it. It's as simple as that. My mother could make it, it's obviously very simple. And as the time goes on, you can add more and more milk, and you're less likely to get lumps. The key bit is at the beginning when you're doing it. You see that? Still a bit thick for a lasagna, so I like to make it a bit thinner than that. But that's sort of nice and smooth. No lumps. And there you have it. White sauce. Much better than a jar. And at this stage, after you've done it and you've got it to the consistency, and if you're going to add cheese to it, what you do is you want it quite thin because the cheese will thicken it. You can add salt and pepper and nutmeg or whatever. This is the basis of any white sauce. And then you can turn the heat down. You can cook it for a bit. I think that was about, probably about a litre of milk. And you'll see, that's the texture of it. So I'm going to add some cheese, salt and pepper, cook it for a wee while, thicken it up. And there I have my lovely white sauce for a lasagna. Just going to go into that. You can see that. It's a bit hard with this camera facing me like this. Sorry for all the moving about. There you have it, a white sauce. Bueno appetito! I just thought I'd just continue on with this because it's actually looking very good, this sauce. It hasn't started to bubble yet, but when it starts to bubble, it'll stick to the bottom, so that's why you have to sort of keep watching it. And I'm going to put salt and pepper and a bit of parmesan into that, and maybe a few scrapings of nutmeg.